Good morning, everyone. Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrated it. Today's book reading is by Gabriel Brinstein, Judgment Detox. Judgment is an addictive behavior caused by our separation from our true nature of love. Judgment is an all-pervasive, unhealthy condition we all suffer from. No matter how kind, compassionate, and spiritual we are. We judge just about anyone, from people who share racy social media posts to our spouses who disagree with us on certain issues. We judge the guy in front of us in a queue for moving too slowly. And, of course, we judge ourselves for just about everything. When we judge others, we get this profound feeling of self-righteousness that makes us feel good about ourselves. Judging them seems to make us better, more enlightened, smarter, healthier, savvier, and wealthier. Unfortunately, however, this feeling is only transient. It inevitably fades and leaves behind an even more profound sense of uneasiness, isolation, and misalignment with the person we want to be. The author said, I have a pretty straightforward definition for judgment. What is that definition? Separation from love. And I believe it was Mother Teresa who said, if you judge others, you don't have time to love them. The moment we perceive ourselves as separate from anyone else, either by thinking we're better than them or we're not as good as them, we become misaligned with our true nature, which is love. By virtue of our nature, we are loving, kind, and compassionate beings deep down. Because this is the way that God made us, in His image, and God is love. This is our nature. But at a particular point in our life, some event, such as a deeply traumatic experience in our childhood, causes us to part ways with that true nature. That separation from love produces feelings of being special or inadequate, leading to loneliness, which in effect results in fear. In an effort to protect ourselves from that fear, we project it outward as judgment. In our detachment, we live in a dream state, shutting out the connection to our loving truth. This separation sets the ego's perception of a false self based on judgment. In order to feel secure in our isolated world, we grow to believe deeply in the false perception of ourselves. In essence, we all have the same problem and the same solution. Our problem is that we have separated from our true nature of love, and the solution is to return to love. That's the solution for everything. Love. In the following chapters, we will discuss Gabriel Brinstein's steps to judgment detox and learn how we can heal from judgment and restore love. Witnessing your fear and judgment renders them powerless and liberates you. The first step in the judgment detox is to be a non-biased witness of your judgment. You have to envision the ways in which you separate from love and get honest about the dark shadows in your mind. Becoming aware of your darkness gives you the confidence to stand up to your fear. When you expose your fear to the light, you suddenly realize there is nothing to run from. You can see the fear as something that isn't part of you, something you no longer have to identify with. You can clearly see judgment and fear as an addictive pattern instead of as a personality trait. By witnessing your fear and judgment, you strip them of their power and set yourself free. Now it's time to look at your judgment and bring awareness to it. You'll need your journal and pen for this exercise. So if you want to do this exercise right now with me, bring a paper and a pen. At the top of the page, write this: I am willing to witness my judgment without judgment. At the top of the page, write down, I am willing to witness my judgment without judgment. At the top of the page. Then make 4 columns down the page. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And write the following sentence in each. Number 1, column number 1, write, who is the object of my judgment? Who is the object of my judgment? In column number 2, how does judging this person make me feel? How does judging this person makes me feel. In column number 3, why do I think it's right to judge? Why do I think it's right to judge? And in the last column, what situation in my life makes me feel this judgment is right? What situation in my life makes me feel this judgment is right? Start with the first column. List whatever judgment that comes to your mind without hesitation. صباح وينعاد عليك. For instance, you can say, I judge my friend for having a political viewpoint that contradicts mine. Try to write at least 15 judgments. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 15. That's becoming a homework right now. Start your sentence with I judge in order to remember. Just start the sentence with I judge and you will find it. It will come to you. It is hard to come up with 15, I'm not gonna lie. turns out that I judge a lot. Okay. I could come up with a 15. I don't know how. Uh, Once you've written at least 15 judgments, move on to column 2, which is how does judging this person or this thing makes me feel. Uh, Here you will get honest about how judgment makes you feel. Go through the list of judgments and describe in great detail how each one makes you feel. Maybe the judgment makes you feel like you want to punch a wall, or perhaps it makes you feel justified, empowered, and fierce. Let's see how this one makes me feel. Let's see. Try to go in detail. You can skip through this when you're watching the replay. cannot even read my handwriting anymore. Basically, when you start doing this exercise and start writing, I found that there was one common thing. It always come in the column, how does judging this person or this thing makes me feel? It actually makes me feel sad, or as sometimes make me feel like smarter than other, you know. Now move to the third column, and this is where you take the time to write all the reasons you feel justified in your judgment. Don't feel guilty about your justification. Instead, give yourself full permission to write it down. So in this column, the third one, you want to take the time to write all the reasons you feel justified in your judgment. For example, you do learn a lot, and it's really like, it's really deep. I don't expect it's gonna take that long, but let's do it. So in this column number 3, you want to take time to write the reason you feel justified in your judgment. This one here. Good morning.
Cut in the front door, please.
This is way deeper than what I expected, but it's good. I mean, right now I'm having an essay. Let's see. So here in this column, remember, you have to write down the reason you feel justified in your judgment. The reason I feel justified here because this is really like mind opening. Mind opening. It makes you see yourself for truly who you are, you know? Wow. That's true. Because you know, in between the 15 one I have right here, there are some of them like on family member, couple of them. You're right. Whoa. And final one. All right. Now let's move to the column number 4, and we need here to list all the possible triggers, past wounds, or traumatic events that may be the root of the judgments you listed in column 1. For example, let's say I judge people for not believing in what I believe, or for the people who have different opinion than me. We need to list now all the possible triggers or past wounds or traumatic events that may be the root of the judgments that we listed. That's gonna be a tough one here. Let's see. Start with this one. What are the triggers? This is a whole session of therapy, honestly. Um, I'm not sure how many of you are doing it, but if you're doing like watching the replay, try it with. You might feel like you're gonna fall into like a kind of trap or confusion between what triggers you to judge or what makes you feel. You know, what's the emotion like? You need to find out like the triggers, what cause you to judge like that. So you have to think about it. What I'm finding truly surprising to me, that a lot of triggers, anger was behind them for some reason. All right. Continue to fill in the 4 columns throughout this detox. Make it a daily habit. When you wake up every morning, check in and see if you have any new judgments that you want to witness. To truly heal from your wounds, you must first acknowledge and honor them. I have a lot of sadness, I have anger, I have, but and a lot of time it's like the feeling of being not being very patient, you know. There is a core wound beneath every judgment. Even the most insignificant assessments result from our shame and shadows. The truth is, we wouldn't go around judging people if we were happy and complete. Judgment is an external projection of our feelings of unworthiness. We've lulled ourselves into believing that we won't have to feel our pain if we project it onto someone else. So rather than address our feelings of inadequacy, inadequacy, and unworthiness, we avoid our pain by fixating on what we perceive to be other people's shortcomings. Unfortunately, we only get a temporary and tenuous reprieve from projecting our judgment onto other people. Not only do our feelings of inadequacy not disappear, but even worse, we feel a pang of overwhelming guilt for judging others too. In the first step, you examine the wounds that live underneath the surface of your judgment. You scrutinize the feelings, memories, traumas, and experiences that make you feel separate, inadequate, inadequate, and scared. You acted as a non judgmental witness of your judgment. In this next step of the healing process, you will be honoring your wounds. To do that, you will be practicing the EFT, emotional freedom techniques, also known as tapping. According to Gabriel, EFT is a psychological acupressure method for nurturing your emotional health. One unique benefit of this technique is that it restores your energy and heals your emotions by combining the cognitive benefits of therapy with the physical benefits of acupuncture. My willingness to honor my wounds is what has helped me create significant, sustainable change in my judgmental patterns and in my life. Unlike conventional acupuncture, you do not need needles for EFT. All you have to do is stimulate specific meridian points on your body by tapping on them with your fingertips. In the next chapter, we will take a look at how to go about the EFT, or what we call emotional freedom technique. How to practice the EFT, or the emotional freedom techniques, for judgment detox. The first step is to rate your MPI, most pressing issue. How emotionally charged are you when you think of the person you're constantly judging? Here, the person can be a group of people or even yourself. So feel free to replace this person with a name. Rate your MPI from 0 to 10, 10 being the most emotionally charged. True healing begins when we become brave enough to face our wounds. The next step is to start tapping on the karate chop point, the center of the outside of your hand between the top of your wrist and the base of the little finger with your other hand. Right here, this is the karate, right here. While tapping, say this phrase out loud 3 times. I deeply and completely love and accept myself, even though I can't stop judging this person. Let me try with this one. I feel better. I deeply and completely love and accept myself, even though I can't stop judging this person. I deeply and completely love and accept myself, even though I can't stop judging this person. Now lightly tap on the following parts of your body sequentially while saying each phrase out loud. Eyebrows, I can't stop judging. Temple, this is the temple right here. I take pleasure in judging them. Under the eye, judgment makes me feel good about myself. Nose, I need to judge them for everything they've done. Collarbone, where's the collarbone? Is it the back right here? After all, they deserve it. Arm, I don't feel bad about my judgment. Oh, this one right here. I don't feel bad about my judgment. Top of the head, they deserve it.
Good morning.
Good morning. For some reason, that did not make me feel that good or kind of guilty, but I don't know what's the point behind this. Continue tapping through the negative rounds till you feel a sense of relief. Then move on to the positive rounds. Eyebrow, but honestly, the judgment doesn't make me feel any better. Temple, love is better than judgment. Under the eye, but it's much easier to judge than love. Under the nose, what will happen to me if I stop judging? Chin, I'll be all by myself, I guess. Collarbone, it's better to just be myself. Arm, to forgive and love myself again. Top of the head, I will be free if I stop judging. Now that makes me feel better, much better. When you're done, say your MPI out loud. I can't stop judging this person. Now rate it from 0 to 10 and relate it to when you first started. You're sure to have felt relief if you tapped through each round with commitment. Did you know, in a study, researchers at the National Institute for Integrative Healthcare conducted a series of psychological tests on participants before and after a 4-day EFT workshop. They found that there was a decline in anxiety, depression, pain, and panic disorders. There was also an increase in happiness and improvements in resting heart rate. Replace your judgment thoughts with love through prayers. Now that you've witnessed your judgmental thoughts and honored the wounds with EFT practice, it's time to pray. This step of the judgment detox is about offering up your judgment through prayer. According to Gabriel, each of us has a higher power working on our behalf to reconcile us with love. We can put love back on the altar at any given moment and let it shine through any grievance. Love is the cure of judgment. And to me, as a believer, God is love. Even the most deep-rooted judgment cannot withstand the potency of love. The truth is, I actually feel better, to be honest. So that tap and whatever it is, it actually really worked. The truth is, in order to break the vicious cycle of judgment, we need spiritual intervention. We must call on a spiritual relationship as we understand it. Be it God, the Holy Spirit, the universe, or the Spirit, to replace our judgmental and fear-based thoughts with love. We must ask to let love in. Divine order unfolds when we surrender our issues to a higher power. We open the invisible gate to receive guidance the moment we ask for help through prayer. The guidance can come in many forms. Through a strong, intuitive knowing, a song, a friend, a book, or a religious leader. The way through which guidance comes to you does not matter. Your willingness to ask for help is all that matters. The spiritual presence of your inner guide will act as an intermediary to lead your judgmental thoughts back to love. One of the prayers that Gabriel recommends that you use when seeking guidance is the prayer to choose again. This is a prayer you can practice when you wake up in the morning, before you get out of bed every day. Recite and say to yourself, today I will judge nothing that occurs. Today I will judge nothing that occurs. Be very attentive to how the rest of your day unfolds. You may be quicker to notice when a judgmental thought starts coming up in your mind, or you may stop yourself from making a critical comment and choose a different topic instead. When you say the prayer to choose again, your thoughts are realigned with love, and the voice of your inner guide takes the lead. As you continue to make this choice, your urge to judge will fade. This prayer, in time, will become second nature and a simple way to rid yourself of judgmental thoughts. Accept people for who they are and be compassionate. Once you've prayed and offered your judgment to your inner guide for transformation, you are ready to see the people you've judged for the first time. Excuse me. Seeing people for the first time means you see their innocence and light. You can recognize that the light within you is the same light that shines through them. Judgment cannot survive in the presence of someone's light. Most times, we judge others, including ourselves, by projecting our preconceived notions into our circumstances. When you practice seeing someone for the first time, however, you set them free from the false projections you've put on them. The false beliefs that separate you disappear. You start seeing the other person as someone calling out for love rather than through the lens of the past. To begin the practice of seeing someone for the first time, start by accepting them where they are. It's a myth to think that you feel better after they change their behavior. In order to see them in innocence, you must accept them exactly where they are. You also see people differently by accepting them for who they are. This is the most loving thing you can do for someone. It is absolutely unloving to try to change others into who we think they should be. By trying to get someone to change, you're effectively telling them you know what is best for them. Your unsolicited help will only come across as a ruse to judge and control them. People may not behave the way you would like them to, but when you accept them for who they are, you can forgive and let go. By consistently practicing to accept someone for who they are and see them with compassion, you realign with your true nature of love. I have to say, this is one of the most amazing books that I've read so far, honestly. And I'm gonna read it again, and I'm gonna listen to it again. I'm gonna save it, and I'm gonna keep listening to it even when I'm driving in my car. And I hope you do the same and practice the tapping technique, what we did, and the exercise of writing everything, doing these 4 columns, and saying to yourself every time you wake up in the morning, I choose not to judge anything today. As you practice acceptance, you must also practice compassion. Relating to people with compassion helps you see their innocence. You realize that their past trauma and inner terror turned them into a monster. Can you imagine the trauma and turmoil that must go on inside of anyone who can do grave harm to another person? By seeing them with compassion, you'll get a sense of their hardship, pain, and deep suffering. Of course, being compassionate doesn't mean that you pardon their wrongs, but it means that you release them on a spiritual level. In effect, you will set yourself free from the terror they created. Break the cycle of judgment by forgiving yourself and your thoughts. The final step of the judgment detox is to forgive yourself for the judgments you have made. And to do that, or to do this, you must understand that the reason you judge in the first place is that you're just looking for love. All you really want is to protect yourself from not feeling loved. In fact, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are nothing but cries for help. Anytime you find yourself in judgment, you can set yourself free by simply forgiving the thought. Let go of the thought and forgive yourself for having it. According to Gabriel, we can use forgiveness to guide our judgment back to love in 3 simple steps. The first step is to expose your ego. To do this, you have to bring the wrong-minded choices you've made to your awareness. Your wrong-minded choices are the ones you make in any instances in which you've judged yourself or someone else. Tell me something. For people who are like who were with me from the beginning, I know it took like a little bit longer time than the usual, but it was worth it. Or for people who are watching the replay, if you really feel better already, if you feel like relieved after all this, I want you to type 1, or if you are watching the replay Leave one in the comment section, because I do. This book is really amazing, and it actually brings me back to God and to the Bible. Because no matter how many times we read the Bible, whether you read like the book of Proverbs, you read the Sermon of the Mount in Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7, Jesus gave us all the answer. Sometimes it's in front of us, but we don't see it. Or we read it, but we don't understand it. We do not apply it in our life. Not because we are not good people or mean people, just like it's that ego in us, the pride, the flesh. And starting from this moment, I promise you, I'm gonna stop judging myself and others. Because after taking this exercise right here, I find out that love is the only answer. Love is the only way. God is love. And we are made in the image of God. And it is not healthy for us to judge. So the first step is to expose your ego. To do this, you have to bring the wrong-minded choices you've made to your awareness. Your wrong-minded choices are the ones you make in any instances in which you've judged yourself or someone else. Whenever you catch yourself in a place of judgment, all you have to do is pivot, pivot, if you know what I mean. Just remember Ross. Uh, so whenever you catch yourself in a place of judgment, all you have to do is pivot. The moment you see yourself react with ego and judge, stop yourself and gently expose your ego to your inner guide. The more you train your mind to expose your ego, the easier it becomes to start thinking with spirit. And let's go back to the garden. Not the garden of Adam and Eve, but the garden of Gethsemane. When Jesus went to pray, came back, and he saw them sleeping. He said, "Are you sleeping? You could not stay and watch with me?" Then he goes back to pray, comes back, sleeping. Then remember what he said. Pray that you might not fall. Stay awake, always be ready, for the spirit is willing. The spirit is always willing. The spirit always willing. The spirit always wants the good, takes the right decision. But the flesh is weak. The more you train your mind to expose your ego, that's the flesh, the easier it becomes to start thinking with the spirit. When we seek the spirit, when we walk in spirit, we are seeking the kingdom of God and its righteousness. Then we don't have to worry. God will provide and everything will be added to us. The next step is to agree that you've chosen wrongly and chose again. The next step is to agree that you've chosen wrongly and choose again. You must see your judgment for what it really is. A mere projection of your own perceived sin, suffering, and guilt. You must also realize that the pattern of projecting your suffering outward is a choice you're making. Witness the fear-based choices you've made and choose to make love-oriented ones with the guidance of the Spirit. The third and final step is to ask for help. You must ask the Spirit to help you suspend your ego and accept spiritual healing. Only when you're healed spiritually can you turn your desire to forgive over to Spirit for guidance and let love shine through your consciousness. In essence, your willingness to forgive even the most horrific events is the key to breaking the cycle of judgment and reuniting ourselves with love. All you have to do is be willing to forgive. And the Spirit will hear your call and guide your path to liberation. When you get to this point, you've chosen love over fear and happiness over judgment. You are ready to live a gracious life and accept that the only rational choice is a life of peace and joy. What an amazing read. What an amazing read that I could give it more than 5 stars. The maximum is 5 stars, but I could give it 10 stars, honestly. God bless you, Gabriel Bernstein, if I'm saying your name right. What an amazing read. And I hope you guys listen to the replay and do the exercise that we did, because I am already feeling like a new person, like you don't have any idea. But what's the conclusion from the whole book? For the people who missed it, you can always watch the replay, of course. Each of us is susceptible to judgment and the illusion of ego, no matter how kind, compassionate, and spiritual we are. We judge others far wide, and we judge ourselves for just about everything. When we judge others, we have a feeling of self-righteousness that makes us feel good about ourselves. Unfortunately, however, this feeling is only transient. It will fade away at some point, leaving us with a deeper sense of uneasiness and isolation. Naturally, we are all loving and compassionate beings. Remember that. But at a particular point in our life, we deviate from this true nature of ours and embrace judgment. It is so easy to judge rather than love. That separation from love makes us feel inadequate and isolated. These feelings then result in fear. And to protect ourselves from that fear, we project it outward as judgment. We have to realize that we all have the same problem and the same simple solution. Our problem stems from the fact that we've strayed from our true nature of love. To solve this problem, we must find our way back to love. And the key to doing that is to practice judgment detox. To heal, you must witness your judgment without judgment. Honor the wounds that live underneath the judgment. Transform your judgment by offering it to the care of your inner guide. Start seeing the people you've judged in their innocence and lightened. Be willing to forgive yourself and your thoughts. This is the only way you can live a life of grace, full of love, and devoid of fear and judgment. Try this. Commit to practicing all the steps in the Judgment Detox program. The program is, first you have to have a piece of paper and write down at the top of the paper, I am willing to witness my judgment without judgment. And have 4 columns. In the first columns you write, who is the object of my judgment? Number 2, how does judging this person makes me feel? Number 3, what do I think it's right? Why do I think it's right to judge? And number 4, what situation what situation in my life makes me feel this judgment is right? And write them down. Try to get at least 15 different things that you judge, people or things. And then after this, use the EFT or the tapping method, like the acupuncture, but without the needle. The tapping method we did, which is amazing. You don't have to get everything right the first time around, but with willingness and constant practice, the Spirit will step in and guide you to trade your judgment for happiness and for fear, for love. Finally, the first thing you do in the morning when you wake up, I want you to say this simple prayer. Who remember what was the prayer? You are forgiven now because you did come late. Before you get out of bed every day, recite this. Today, I will judge nothing that occurs. With the help of God and the Spirit. Today, I will judge nothing that occurs. And every time throughout the day something happened to you or someone you meet and you feel you want to judge, your brain and the Spirit will remind you. Have a blessed one, everyone. Thank you for joining. Until we meet again with another book reading. What an amazing reading. The title of the book is Judgment Detox by Gabriel Brinstein. You should get this book. And I give it 5 stars, and I'm gonna save it so I can listen to it when I'm driving in my car. I'll listen to it as an audio. Thank you again. God bless you, and I will see you when I see you if the Lord permits. Have a blessed one.